Namaskar. I welcome you all to the talk come interactive session on the topic Amrit Kaal, Vimarsh Viksit Bharat at 2047, a development dialogue that is initiated by the Ministry of Education, Government of India towards Vision 2047. May we request Professor K.B. Krishna, Director in Charge and Dean of Academic Affairs, to welcome today's guest speaker, Mr. Shishir Kumar Bajoria. Mr. Shishir Kumar Bajoria is a well-known industrialist and the head of SK Bajoria Group, manufacturing ceramics for the steel industry in India, UK, USA, Germany, China. His businesses also include insurance services involving health and travel insurance administration, claim settlement, insurance and reinsurance broking, as well as an art gallery. He has been the president of the Indian Chamber of Commerce, Kolkata, honorary vice consul for Denmark in Eastern India, and has also been a director of the State Industrial Development Corporations of Orissa and West Bengal. He has been knighted by the governments of Denmark in 1998 and Italy in 2006. He is the Chairman Board of Governors of IIM Shillong. I request Professor K.V. Krishna sir to please welcome our chief guest. I request Professor K.V. Krishna sir to please felicitate our chief guest, Mr. Shishir Kumar Bajoria. Thank you, sir. I request Professor K.V. Krishna sir to please proceed with that welcome speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we have announced, today we have a development dialogue here in the on the Amrit Kaal Vimarsh. This is the uh, theme of the event, and Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. We have an eminent person, Mr. Shishir Kumar Bajoria. He is head of SK Bajoria Group, and he is the current chairman, Board of Governors, IIM Shillong. So let me just set the today's event. And on behalf of the institute, I welcome Mr. Bajoria. Welcome, sir. And for gracing this, and also ready to sort of to discuss on the set targets of the government and various activities, particularly talking about the policies of the government in the education, and towards Vision 2047, the set targets towards development, and discussing with our students, of course, in the academia, our faculty members who are present today, and of course, we have also staff members here to discuss and initiate the dialogue as per the initiative of the Ministry of Education. And what I would just emphasize that this is an initiative of Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Education has sort of like eminent personalities are going to different campuses and initiating the discussions and with the youth, connecting with the youth, and also in this 25 years of time, so-called Amrit Kaal, that government has named, and it is also called Kartavya Kaal So in these 25 years, what are the things which are set to sort of like, the vision 2047 by the time we have this 100 years of independent India. So eminent personalities are coming across educational institutes, talking to the students. And sir, I would like to sort of like, bring to your notice that our exams are going on and today we have started. And some of our students, senior students who are not having exams, they are present here. And some many of the research scholars also, they are engaged in the examination duties. And of course, the faculty members and all. So that way, what we were expecting that we'll have a fruitful discussion, and through us who are present today, we can essentially sort of like communicate and take this discussion forward among all other students today who are not present. So with these few words, I request Mr. SK Bajoria to give the insights on various development activities that government has initiated and achieved in this recent past, and uh, give us the direction and through the discussions in this today's lecture. Welcome, sir. And on behalf of the institute, I would request you to start your.
Thank you, Professor. Well, before I start, one request. I also used to do when I was in my student days, never come and sit in the first row. First row is free. Please, aa jaiye. Come forward, come forward. It'll make interaction better. It'll make speaking even more, shall we say, happening. And and by the way, you at the last, you remind me of me. Honestly, please come forward. Please. And otherwise, I had the standard formula that let's remove the chairs of the first row. The second row will become first, but yours, the chairs are fixed. Thanks. Professor K.V. Krishna, the Dean and the Acting Director. Professor Anamika Barua, also Dean. Professor Mihir Purkar, Dean. And also, I would like to recognize Professor Dipankar Bandyopadhyay, Professor Akshay, Professor Akshay, and Professor Tripathi, who showed me around the Nano Center. And before anything, that was an eye-opener for me. Namaste, everyone. Well, let's start with I'm going to quote the famous, the one and only Gautam Buddha. As per his teachings, we are creatures of our own thoughts. Our thoughts of yesterday have made our today. Our thoughts of today determine our tomorrow. We are creatures of our thoughts. And why did I start with the quote from Buddha? Viksit Bharat 2047 is a thought, isn't it? What does it mean? Developed India at 2047, which will be 100 years since we were independent. It's a thought. It's a thought whether you think our country is developed, developing, or underdeveloped. It's a thought. Why I'm saying it's a thought? The figures say something else. The reality says something else. But some of us are not willing to believe the reality. How can a country which few years back was number 10 in the world economic list, now number 5, still be an underdeveloped country? And it is only our Prime Minister who has the courage of his conviction to thump the table in the US Parliament and say, very soon we will be number 3. Who can say this? Except a person who has the courage of his conviction. And by the way, most of the economic agencies, I'm talking of the multilateral ones, they accept that India is on its way to the 3rd position. We cannot be anything but a developed country if we are number 3 country of the world. That if we are not a developed country and we are still number 3, the world situation is very bad. So this is a thought. And this idea of addressing academic institutions, because it's the youth which creates our thoughts for tomorrow. You create our tomorrow. You are our future. Because for most of us, we are on residual time. Even though life longevity has increased, but you are the future. You will, I'm sure you've heard or you will keep hearing this word, Sankalp se Siddhi. What does it mean? Development through your own commitment. If you are not committed, you will not develop. If we as people are not committed, our community will not develop. If our communities are not committed, our country will not develop. It's our commitment for development, and that is Sankalp se Siddhi. In this Viksit Bharat, there is a very important 5 elements of it, which is called the 5 lives, prana, panch prana, 5 lives. What are they? Freedom from our colonial past. This is very important because we have had an unfortunate past where, frankly, 1526, we were invaded by the Mughals, who were driven out in 1858. But in 1858 came the British Raj. So effectively from 1526 to 1947, we were under foreign domination. And this hangover is in a lot of people's mind. And we are not able to break free from the shackles. I will give you 1 or 2 examples which have become a bit controversial. The very famous road in Delhi, Rajpath. When it was named Kartavya Path, a huge hoo-ha was made. Why are you renaming it? What does the word Raj mean? It was called King's Way before 1947 because from what is today Rashtrapati Bhavan, which was the Viceroy's palace, it was King's Way. What does King's Way mean? Rajpath. So we continued our colonial mindset. You'll say, but how does a road name matter? Of course it matters. Kartavya Path, that is your kartavya, that is your duty. Prime Minister's house is housed where? Racecourse Road. Hey, come on, could you not find a better name? After all, that's a Prime Minister, and I'm not talking of who's the incumbent occupying that house. He's Prime Minister or she is Prime Minister of the country. Not racecourse. I used to be a horse trainer myself, but I'd still not name the Prime Minister's house Racecourse Road. Lok Kalyan Marg, does it not depict what a Prime Minister is supposed to do? Lok Kalyan. Each of these matters. Just because we are not able to break our colonial shackles, we say, Arey, why all this change? The change is needed and it matters. The next of the Panch Pran is pride in our culture. Again, a hangover of the colonial past. We do not give the importance to our culture. We do not take pride in our culture. Look, you people have today access to every country Which country does not take pride in their culture? Name me that country. There is not a single country who does not take pride in their culture. Start from East. Today, Japanese shake hands because but internally they don't shake hands. They bow. The whole of Asia, shaking hands is not a normal culture. It's either namaste or salam or whatever, or bow, or Chinese. It's your culture. I'm giving you only one example. I can go on expanding. It's your culture. Take pride in your culture, in our heritage. Let's not forget our heritage. Heritage is our foundation. Heritage is our base. Today, however good Domino pizza may be, and we all eat it, I'm not against it. I do eat myself. But that's not our heritage. It's our fun food. Let it be our fun food. No? It's not our heritage. Let's not forget our heritage. Because our heritage, when I expand on it, it's really, really huge and deep. Strength in our unity. We all know this. One finger is very weak. Your fist is very strong. That's unity. Anywhere where the voice is united is strong. Where the voice is singular, who cares? And finally, kartavya, your commitment, your duty. We sometimes are all very, very, we want to establish our rights. Of course, we have our rights and we should establish. But what about our duty? Our kartavya. So these are the panch pran, the soul of the nation on which a developed nation stands. And by the way, take these 5 points. If you have nothing else to do in the evening, I'm sure you have, but if you have nothing else, put these 5 in any developed country's context and you'll see they will all stand. A developed country stands on the pride of its people, on the patriotism of its people. I will name 3 countries. America, US of A. US of A, do anything to their national flag, you're gone. Do you know one thing? If the American national flag is burnt in any part of the world and the perpetrator is identified by the American administration, that person for life cannot enter the country. Yes, that is the pride they take in their national flag. Go to Japan, you will see what national pride means. Germany, after the Second World War, because they denounced the Second World War, after all, they were the ones who created it. Do you know you cannot walk into any German shop and buy even a toy gun till today because they do not want their children to even hold a toy gun because they feel that what we did to the world was wrong. That's national pride. So these are the 5 pillars, the pran, the life on which we stand. Any country stands, and that is part of our Viksit Bharat. Since I'm in an educational institute, though NEP is more relevant to other institutes, other colleges, other universities than at your elite end, but it is still. I thought let me just spend a few minutes on NEP. Look, I am a thoroughbred student who's lived in my own city. I'm a student from Calcutta, from St. Xavier's, my schooling to my graduation, everything. I'm homegrown. I have not had the privilege of going to an institute like you, students and faculty. But, and in my time, and still it's still applicable till NEP is in full force, I would describe our education system as a conveyor belt. A factory is conveyor belt, raw material idhar se, finished product udhar. And if in between you go wrong in your conveyor belt, the conveyor belt throws you out. You're gone. You're doomed for life. Because that's our education system. It puts a student who has his whole life's future on a conveyor belt. You come in, you go out. This 1 year of sabbatical or a break year, where now the word is being introduced. In my time, there was no such thing. If I was tired, well, tough luck, boss, bhago, you're gone. You're a failure. NEP addresses that. I did commerce for my graduation. My majors was accountancy. I didn't have a choice. For me, the 3 subjects which were prescribed by Calcutta University was there. That's it. Full stop. You know what was my choice? Either take French or commercial Hindi. Come on, it's a joke. Otherwise, the business management, the law, blah, blah, blah. No choice. No choice. And what, I may be sounding very critical of our system, but I'm a product of that. BCom, the degree, till very recently, was catered to produce clerks who used to serve the East India Company. East India Company was thrown out of our shores 1947. I was a product of that. With the result, what I had learned, I could not apply. So for my regular life, I had to learn something more. And most of you, fortunately not here, but before you came here, some other school, some other degree, some tuition. Why, this you don't experience in other countries. This was the flaw in our system. NEP addresses that. NEP will not happen overnight because we do not change very easily and we stick to that. Now, what should it be? After all, in studies, what are you striving for? Knowledge, right? Gyan. Anything which is not in your knowledge, just mugging up, will be of no use to you. So that's Gyan. How your wisdom of applying it, your pragya, how you apply it. I have a lot of data. I have a lot of information. If I cannot use my wisdom to convert it into knowledge, what use it is? And that is the satya. That is the truth. Again, when we look at our past, we as a country were proud to have the first university. But today, we are more keen and our degrees are more valuable if it's an overseas degree. But this was our country gave the world Takshila and Nalanda. And by the way, I don't run down overseas universities. My own son is a graduate from overseas. Why, let's say you go to US, if you are in one of the top universities, not just Ivy League, but any of the top ones, yes. I have seen people who are graduates from universities, one had to Google where that university is. And believe you me, a very big name, I won't name. When I Googled, I didn't find the university's existence, but the person had a certificate. And that certificate worked because Videshi hai. this is national pride, this is what has to change. You have to. And again, I don't think I've done badly in my life. I'm a homegrown. And I said, I don't even have the privilege of an IIT or an IIM. I mean, I chair an IIM, but I've got no literal physical knowledge of an IIM. This is the country which produced scholars like Aryabhat, Bhaskaracharya, Chanakya, Tiruvallur. And today, yet we pursue Videshi. Each of my remarks, please, ladies and gentlemen, do not think I'm anti-foreign. I am not. When you see my own business life, I have a huge business overseas. I am not anti-foreign. But I do not place foreign ahead of our desh just because it is foreign. If it is something good there, please, by all means, take it, because anything which is good, boundaries don't matter. But not just for the sake of it. Coming back to NEP, I don't know, you have not heard possibly this acronym before. Have you heard NABF? Degree. Correct. हमारे टाइम में a very popular acronym was MABF, metric appeared but failed. Right? Why? Because वो fail हो गया, खत्म, finished, end of story. That boy or girl's life is gone. He or she has studied till 10, 12, 13, gone into the first year, second year, somewhere fell out of that conveyor belt, gone. Now, for the same, okay, how the experiments went. I am a product of 11 plus 3. 2 years behind me became 10 plus 2 plus 3. Okay? Today, it is 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4, still 15. But now see the difference. In your undergraduate, if you leave at the end of the first year, for any reason, there could be many reasons, there could be compulsive reasons at home, you get a certificate. वो MABF आप नहीं हो. You still take home a certificate. Second year, you get a diploma. Third year, you get a bachelor. Fourth year, and if you have done research, you get a bachelor with research. You don't go empty-handed. We cannot afford our youth to go home empty-handed, because those many years have been put in. They are assets. This is what NEP makes a difference. And then where the curriculum is concerned, you can chop and change. It makes it very difficult for the faculty. It makes it very difficult for the institutes, for the colleges. But you, dear students, you have the flexibility of chopping and changing. I'll again give the example of my own son. My son once decided, early in his life, he'll do business. He went to US to do business management, bachelor's. In 4 months, he packed up. He said, I'm not. What do you want to do? He said, either I'll come back to India or I'll go to the UK. And he told me very bluntly, look, I don't want to do business. Why? I'm born in a business family. If my family has not taught me business, who will teach me? So he ended up doing international relations, politics, and economics. That combination, those years were not available here. Now it is. This is how it makes a difference. And in my time, in my time was very clear. Advanced accountancy, business management, law, full stop. You want something else? No. Go out. Look for something else. But every college was the same. See, life is not just a degree. This is the problem in our country. Life is a degree. So what do? Is a very again, I can only refer to my time, no? Consign to memory, vomit to paper. Cram karo, likh do. Kya likha? I don't know. And degree you hold. Germany, which developed from complete ruins after the Second War, degree courses do not have much importance there. Is there diplomas? Is there skills? And by the way, skill development in India, I give you another example. We all run after degrees, and we have the world's highest educated unemployed. Go outside, try and get a plumber at home. Try and get an electrician at home. Karke dikha do. You won't get electrician and a plumber. Skill. Because we have not given importance to skill development. Because degree is ज़्यादा important. Now, this is where I feel we have to change as a country. You cannot have a country which produces the highest number of graduates, postgraduates, and has the highest number of educated unemployed. And especially in a country which is not just young, youngest in the world, which will remain youngest in the world till, you know which year? 2070. So something is wrong. Possibly we are preparing round square pegs to fill round holes. This is where I feel the education system has to change, and this is what the government is trying to address. Moving away from education, enough of education. I'm sure all of you have followed in some shape or form the G20, right? चाहे कितने दूर से भी देखे हो. I'm very sure the audience, the August audience here, is not oblivious of G20. What did the G20 do for us as a country? Let's ask that question. First of all, what's the history of G20? G20 came into being in the year 1998 and the financial crisis hit, 2007 and 8. They said, no, this is too small and it has to be upgraded. That is when G20 came into being to solve the world's financial crisis. And that is when G20 was raised from finance ministers' levels to, the moment the gavel is handed over to the next president, it effectively ends, but on the paper it's still there. This is the first time ever that a declaration has been done without any notes or paragraphs. So why is it important? This time it was very important because, as you know, the conflict in Europe, Ukraine, Russia, has got the two worlds completely at daggers drawn. One side will not give up blaming Russia, and another side says, well, Russia should not be waging war, but are they alone to be blamed? So there was this conflict. We all know that USA is in complete head-on conflict with China. China versus Japan because of Fukushima water. Japan versus Korea. So there were intra G20, there were 5 conflicts. India did not want to blame Russia. But India was also telling Russia that you have to stop the war. Despite this, a declaration was done completely harmonious, without any footnotes or any paragraphs. That was diplomatically our country's biggest success. Another point, we have heard this debate, North versus South, the rich countries versus the developing or underdeveloped countries. North-South debate going on and on and on, but at the end of any multilateral meeting, South remains South. Do you realize, ladies and gentlemen, the next time when Brazil hosts the G20, it will be renamed. It will be G21. Because we, our Prime Minister, announced with the concurrence of all the countries that the African Union will be made a full member of G20. Imagine African Union will now be sitting next to European Union. That was our contribution to Global South. Not that meeting खत्म हुआ भूल जाओ फिर नॉर्थ साउथ चलो लग जाओ. This for us to become the voice of the Global South was a huge, huge achievement. Then the biofuel agreement. India, as you know, is not just a net importer of crude, but a huge importer of crude. With the development of biofuel, we will be not only contributing to the green fuel, but also saving huge amount of money. The India, Mid East, Europe corridor, economic corridor. Business-wise, a big, big jump for India, because this effectively puts paid to the BRI, the Belt Road Initiative of China. Why I'm saying that? To put spade. BRI, according to me, was by China for China. And in that typical way, what they had done, they had agreed to advance money to countries to build the infrastructure for BRI at such terms which Sri Lanka has suffered. If you can't repay, I own your asset. That's what happened in Sri Lanka. Half of the country is today owned by China. This was BRI. By the way, you know what BRI China wanted us to sign? A part of BRI goes over POK. And they are saying you signed the BRI. I mean, that's the problem. When another country thinks the other country will sign anything. But today, effectively, BRI is gone. Who was the biggest supporter? Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. And people were saying, oh, this government is not pro-Muslims. Arey bhai, the relationship today India has, our country has with Middle East is a relationship never before. At the end of G20, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia stayed back for a day because that was his state visit, that was the bilateral. A sideshow of G20. How many of you are familiar with the grain called Bajra? Okay, few. It's a coarse grain, right? It needs very little water to cultivate. That is why it's mainly in Rajasthan and Gujarat. And it's very good for health, much more healthy than wheat. This whole year, we made millet our main cereal for focus. You'll say, but for what? Imagine over a period of time if we increase the consumption of millet for our cultivation. See, it's different thoughts from different ends coming in. I'm going to rapidly read out a few bullets, what we have achieved. By the way, the total FDI in the country, from 1947, we had our first, we got about 950 billion till today, of which 532 billion was in the last 19 months in FDI. And this has come from 162 countries across the world. Last 8 consecutive years, each year has been a record, and in 61 sectors, we got the FDI spanning over 31 states. It's countries' development, not a region's development. The growth of India these now is a bottom-up growth, not just a few cities, not just the top 7 cities. With the result, if you see the list of businessmen, gone are the days when the top 4 or 5 or 6 businessmen led the country. As I said, from 10th, we jumped to 5th. Who did we displace? We displaced Russia, Italy, Brazil, France, and one country which gives me immense pleasure when we displaced UK. Because whatever UK has, most of it is stolen from us. Despite that, we have put them behind us. What makes our economy very solid? 2/3 of our GDP comes from domestic, because that is our power. Why do people want to come here? Why this FDI? Because in that FDI, this is our market. Because 2/3 of our GDP is domestic. I was most impressed when I was at your Nano Center. I mean, look, I'm not from that background. So for me, it was mind-blowing. And what was most important when, your colleagues from the business school were there, and they spoke about startups. Startup is the future. We have to forget that whole legacy industry chalega. And startup means there will be failures. There cannot be a successful startup without a failure. And over our discussion, there was a discussion about government jobs. I can only give one example. It is a true example, a friend of mine. Today, he is a multi-billion businessman. He lives in New York. He has petrochems all over. The first company he registered in his own name, he called up his mother very excited, 22 or 23-year-old, calling up his mother saying, "Ma, bless me, I have registered my own company." And the mother said, "Oh, that's all very good, dear son. Nokri to nahi chhodana." That was the mindset. And then in some parts of our country, it's sarkari nokri. Are sahab, kuch nahi hai. You have to stand on your own thing. We have to move away from a country of job seekers to job givers. And I have only one advertisement in my mind. It's etched in my mind. When mobiles came, you all have not experienced this, by the way. When the first mobile came, what was the cost? 16 rupees per minute incoming plus 16 rupees per minute outgoing. A call was 32 rupees a minute. Yes, you're looking shocked at that number I'm throwing. Yes, the first mobile we had it gave the mobile company 32 rupees a minute. Today we are the cheapest in the world. I get a shock when I have a UK number. I get a shock when I get that bill. For not using, I get a £5 bill. Either so I keep using 500 rupiah, 1000 rupiah. And our packages when you travel abroad. Because that's our consumption of data. Sir, does that mean I finished my time? No. Okay, I just asked. So, okay. Why? Because of the way our country has developed. And this advertisement I was talking to you about, I was watching TV. There's a young couple, whatever be their relationship, young couple, standing in front of a pan wala, having pan. By the way, my favorite, having pan. Mobile rings. The boy tells the girl, no, sorry. The girl tells the boy, "Tera phone?" "No." "Tera?" "No." still ringing. They look at the panwala. Panwala picks up his phone. Now, below the panwala shop was his assistant sitting. हाँ भैया कैसे हैं? That is a job provider. That panwala provided the job to that assistant who also had a mobile phone. He's only selling pan, but he is not a job seeker. He's providing a job. This is where our country has to move, and we are moving, by the way. And the startup, that's why I was very impressed with the startups that you all are doing. Your Section 8 company. It's the right move. And like when we grow up, when we are born, before we take our first step or two, don't all toddlers fall down? Some hurt their knees. We do. No startup can be without a failure. But startup will take our country forward. And we have to move away from job seekers to be job givers. And before I end, ladies and gentlemen, I'll quote Swami Vivekananda. Because as I told you what Buddha said, we are creatures of our thought. Swamiji said, there were two boats, country boats, in the middle of a river. Still river, two boats. One boat, the boatsman had unfurled his sail. Patar khula tha. The other was not unfurled. Suddenly the wind came. What will happen? The boat whose sail was open got the wind and went to the direction. Right? That's what will happen. Whose fault? Wind's or the sail? That is our thought. Keep your antennas open. When the right wind comes, your antenna will pick it up. But if you keep it close, आपके बगल से तूफान भी निकल जाएगा, you won't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving very securely to a great future. And this Amrit Kaal, as we know what is Amrit, elixir, that is Amrit Kaal, and that is the future of our country. And one last, it just struck me when I was ending. You've heard a lot of talk, chatter. Is India changing its name? I'm sure you've heard this, right? Sure many have this question. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are not changing our name. Read our constitution. India, that is Bharat. Where's the emphasis on Bharat? Open your passport. Bharat ke Ganrajya, Rashtrapati Bharat ke Ganrajya. What is our national anthem? Kavi Guru kab ka likh gaye the? National anthem. The song of Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, Jana Gana Mana, 5 stanzas, but our national anthem is only 2. What does it say? Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak Jaya Hai. हो गया? कहाँ है नाम चेंज? हमारा national anthem says Bharat Bhagya Vidhata. And by the way, I'll name 4 countries. There are many countries with multiple names. Ireland you've heard of? You know what is the official name of Ireland? Eire, E-I-R-E. Read their constitution. We all call it Germany. No one in Germany calls it Germany. What is the German name? Deutschland. What is Holland? Netherlands. All that kal tak we were using India. I'm not saying we are not using India. The corridor, by the way, is still called India Middle East Europe corridor. It's not called Bharat Middle East Europe corridor. We are not denouncing the name Bharat. We are not giving up the name India. We are just emphasizing. Earlier, our prime ministers, presidents in multilateral forums spoke in English. But no other countries had spoken English. They spoke in their own language. Today, our prime minister, our president speaks in Hindi. क्या फर्क है? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Nice talking to you. Some of you had a bit of struggle because, the most difficult part is to speak after lunch, and especially for the listeners. And one advantage the speaker has is, you can see what's happening. But I'm open to questions. Thank you. Anyone, even if you think it's controversial, even if you think nothing will hurt my sensitivities. Somebody needs to roll the ball. Or, come on. Everybody will hear you. Come. Hey, Godless David. Just introduce yourself.
नमस्ते सर, मेरा नाम पूजा है और मैं एमटेक सेकेंड ईयर स्टूडेंट हूँ। स्कूल ऑफ हेल्थ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, वहाँ पे सेंटर फॉर नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी में ही है हमारा स्कूल। और मैं राजस्थान से आती हूँ। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि मतलब स्टार्टअप के लिए ग्रांट्स भी मिल जाते हैं अगर आइडिया वगैरह अच्छा हो, लेकिन स्टिल मेरे मन में कहीं ये है कि पहले खुद से मतलब कुछ रेवेन्यू जनरेट करें अपना, और फिर पहला जो सीड ग्रांट जो भी सीड होता है वो उससे मतलब कि वो मतलब स्टार्टअप में इन्वेस्ट करें अपना खुद का। तो वो आइडिया कितना वैलिड है, लाइक वो ज्यादा सही है या फिर किसी दूसरे से ग्रांट लेके और फिर उसको एक हाइट तक लेके जाना?
See, simple answer is this: दोनों सही है. It depends on your individual situation. If you have a situation जहाँ आप खुद seed capital लगा सकती हो, लगा लो, करो. Definitely, that's very good. But for somebody that may not be possible. So go ahead, and I give you a small example, though this example is not applicable to you all, because after all, I am speaking to an elite. Mudra loan. You know what is Mudra loan? Mudra loan is loan given without any collateral for those who have nothing to give collateral. So by Mudra loan, what is that Panwala example I gave you? That Panwala is entitled to Mudra loan. Because what will he offer as collateral? But if he has or she has access to capital, can increase the business. But in your startup, तो इसलिए मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, both are correct. Yeah.
सर लाइक एज यू आर बिजनेसमैन, तो आपके आप पर भी बहुत सारी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती होंगी, और लीडर हो आप तो फिर लाइक वो एक जैसे मुझे मैं भी यहाँ पे आईआईटी में एक क्लब की सेक्रेटरी, वो बहुत छोटा है, लेकिन स्टिल जब मेरे ऊपर वो रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आ जाती है तो मुझे स्ट्रेस होता है, टेंशन होती है, और स्टिल वो काम अगर मुझे कोई दूसरा करने को बोलता है तो वो मच ईजियर होता है कि हाँ तुमने बता दिया, मैंने कर लिया, सबसे मैंने करके दे दिया, और सेम वही मेरे को करना होता है तो मुझे टेंशन होती है। तो आपके साथ भी इनिशियली ये हुआ होगा?
टेंशन क्या होता है?
ऐसे कि करना है
No, 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 no,
टाइम
no, no, no. What is tension? What is tension?
लाइक पहले जैसे कल कोई इवेंट है तो
यही तो है ना, और क्या है टेंशन? There's a very serious point about tension, because in our education system we have the highest suicide rates. I'm sorry I have to touch this point. Why? It's because the tension. Where does the tension come? Peer pressure, parental pressure. Tension is your state of mind. आप किस लिए टेंस हो रही हो? अरे व्हाट इज द वर्स्ट, आप फेल कर जाओगे ना, और क्या होगा? और अच्छा टेल मी, हम टेंस हो गए तो क्या हम सक्सेसफुल हो जाएंगे? कैन समबडी से यस? I would rather say your chances of success diminishes. And by the way, you said you run a small club here. Yeah? Nothing is small. If you Google me, you'll see I'm in political life. You know where I started? From a club. I was cleaning stables. Godega stable. Yeah. And that is how I come from a business family. I'm not running away from that. But in my public life, that's where I started. क्या चीज का टेंशन टेंस मत होइए इट्स वेरी इजी फॉर मी टू से बिकॉज दैट्स माय माइंड मेरे को पता नहीं टेंशन क्या होता है आई होप यू विल गिव अप टेंशन व्हिच पार्ट ऑफ राजस्थान आर यू फ्रॉम
चूरू
शहर और जिला
मेरा गांव है हिसार के पास मेरा गांव है एक्चुअली
मैं भी चूरू का ही हूँ ओरिजिनली आई कम फ्रॉम रतनगढ़ बट आई एम थर्ड जनरेशन आई कॉल माई सेल्फ नेचुरलाइज बंगाली राजस्थानी बोल सको क्या चलो बाद में बात करना लेट्स मूव अवे
थैंक यू सर धन्यवाद
She has kick-started. I'm looking at you two ladies. Come on. By the time the mic comes, you will frame your question.
So while mentioning NEP,
Who are you?
I'm Lakshmi. I'm from Department of Mathematics. I'm doing my PhD right now. So while mentioning NEP, you said that students have an opportunity of leaving, like if they enroll to undergrad, they can leave within 1 year. So my question is, like, how are they going to pursue their career or whatever their interest is later? So it's like, because of any reason, or if they find whatever stream they choose to be not suitable for them, if they want to pursue something vocational. So I just wanted to know how those things are coming up, like how are like the skill enhancement that you told, how is that going to be implemented?
Okay, so very simple. Year one, somebody decides to leave, right? 2 years later, you want to come back. Or you don't want to come back. Or life is such that you can't come back. That's also happens, huh? For many students, you can't come back. You go out with a certificate. That's as far as your parchi is concerned. Then you want to pursue another career, do it. You want to chop and change it. This sounds very, I would say, difficult to comprehend because that's not how our minds are trained. Our minds are trained कि भाई जो लाइन में चले चलते चलो. That is the NEP. And by the way, this flexibility is anywhere in the world. You know what? In a B school, you will, in some countries, especially in the developed countries, you will find the average age bracket somewhere. There's one student sitting at the age of 45. He's come back after some time because he or she felt the need. हमारे यहाँ नहीं होगा. हमारे यहाँ यदि वो आ गया तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा. Just watch. In some years to come, it will happen. So that is to answer your question. You can come back. You can pick something else. Why? You were not born to graduate with one degree. You were not born to just do one subject. Ultimately, NAP achieves that. It gives you the flexibility. Because you may have decided to do something and then you found that, no. This is not me. I went in the wrong path. Today, sorry, in the old system, no chance. Yeah? But things will evolve. If you say today, what is the solution? Don't go to a faculty member today. There's still a fair amount of confusion because things are in NEP, things are evolving. Let's be honest. When something so path breaking happens, It takes time to filter down, but it is happening. Not happy? Anyone else? So, shall we bring it to an end? There's silence, or if any of the faculty wants to ask, please go ahead. Let's conclude. Look, it was very good. I enjoyed speaking to you. I hope I communicated. And if you want to have a chat, I'm here, but I'm flying back today. So it's been really nice coming to your institute. It's the first time I've visited IIT Guwahati. Professor, thanks a lot, and namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your insights on the theme and your talk and interaction with us. Uh, as I said, we have expected more participation, but yes, I think whatever the message that you would like to give, I guess it would reach to the concern, and we'll take it forward. And with this, I thank everyone who has participated in this event, particularly the students, the staff members, some officers, faculty members from various departments, uh, and to interact in this. And of course, we'll be having some tea, so we can interact with the speaker even over the tea, because some of you perhaps may be thinking don't want to ask public, and but you can ask personally over tea and then have interaction with. So you have understood like the breadth of the knowledge that the speaker's background. He's an industrialist and he's heading an educational institution, and the type of, and he has also introduced, he's a politician, you understand. So I hope you admit or you agree that politicians are high caliber people, right? So with that kind of we are always some sort of like unidirectional, but you understand that they can go to any planet and talk the things. So that way, I presume that if you wanted to have a personal interaction, so the speaker honorable, he is available with us for some more time. So let us interact and have your one-to-one if you have something. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you, sir, for your presence at our institution. And once again, we extend our heartfelt thanks, and you are coming here and spending your valuable time. Thank you very much. Let us go and practice.
You said right. You can speak on any planet and